So another exercise on the guard for you to practice. Now, the last one we did was just on tracking. So your person was moving, or you had your imaginary friend there and you're tracking them. But now, this one's more so if you do have someone, but you can also pretend they're there. Now, something else you want to keep in mind with the guard. So as Carlson puts his guard on towards me, he wants to make sure that these don't collapse. The idea of the guard is that this space is yours and you don't want them to collapse. Because if Carson's hands do collapse, that means he's either trapped or getting hit, yeah? Which obviously is not good. So the way you maintain that is by just focusing forward to the other person's center. That's a simple way of saying it. Another way of saying it is like, imagine you're reaching forward to the opponent's center without reaching forward. So Carson doesn't actually extend his hands, he imagines he is, so that when I put pressure on his hands, they're not just collapsing. So there's like a stability in his structure. On that note, I will be going through all the different principles in later videos, like structure, focus, intent as well, so don't worry if you're not following what I mean by certain terms. So now with this exercise, what we're going to do is you're going to track your opponent's center, but they're going to put some pushing and pulling force on you. You can start just with pushing. So for example, as I move, Carson stays focused on me, and then I'll put pushing pressure on him, yeah? He's following me, so I move back, he stays with me, I put pushing pressure on him. Now you see, yes, Carson does move back, but that's fine. He's keeping his space, he's staying on center. As I move, push, yeah? Just to make sure he's keeping a level of forwardness and let's say a defensive shield in front. So as Carson moves around and tracks me, I keep my focus on him. Keep my focus on him, and then he goes to push. I keep that focus there. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to collapse. I want to keep it on him. It's better that my stance gets moved back and I keep this space than my hands get collapsed and get punched in the face. Yeah? So as he moves around, I track, and then he goes to push whatever he wants. Then I just go with it. Yeah? Keep tracking, he pushes. Good. So you can take turns with this, or if you're on your own, just track and imagine they're coming in and make sure you're forward. You're not tensing up towards them, you're just focusing your mass towards them. That focus and direction and the momentum of the mass should prevent that from crushing your arms. We'll talk later on structure and energy work. Now, Carson keeps his guard. Next layer to this exercise is that as I move, I can be putting pushing forces on him, but also pulling forces, yeah? Pushing, pulling. But he wants to keep. And don't worry too much about exact configuration, just keep your space and keep balance. You'll see how Carson's still staying upright and still ready, yeah? Okay. Pushing, pulling, pushing. So he does it to me now, I stay focused on him. You see, you can even use that pulling force, if he does pulling force, I can use that as a way into the target as well. So, keep going, cut up. With your partner, so moving around, pushing forces, pulling forces, yeah? Now, something to keep in mind as well is to just keep focused on their center. It's another really simple point. Keep focused at their center. And lastly, try not to be too rigid. Oftentimes when people first start out, they're really trying to lock the shapes in position. Have the shapes good, like have them looking good, like so something my master used to say was, make sure your shapes are beautiful first. So like for example, with the sealed in tail form, make sure your shapes are beautiful, then you can add in the relaxation, the chi work and the mind work, right? So similar here, make sure your shapes are beautiful, yeah? And as I put pressure on him, just keeping nice and focused and relaxed towards me, I push and pull, he maintains his balance as well. Last point I'd like you to keep in mind is just your eye level. Carson puts his stance and guard onto me. His eye level, generally speaking, will be kind of more to the horizon, right? In that he wants to be aware of the fight scene. But once you're in contact with the person, you usually look around their throat area. So you don't look at their eyes because they can distract you with their eyes, like send your eyes elsewhere. You don't look at their hands because their hands can move anywhere. You look around the throat and shoulder line, because the throat and shoulder line won't lie to you where the movement of their body is. And it also keeps you focused on the throat, which is a primary target in self-defense as well. Okay, so have a crack at that exercise, and we'll see you in the next video.